we're going to be discussing today is actually how to, run a very successful medical practice. Whether you've started or whether you've got a couple of years. So as Zwipepis, we've started an initiative because we saw that the people that we're working with, there's quite a lot that they're gaining from us. So we also want, public as well to actually gain insight on how, people that proactively work with us actually gain, from our professional services and also our expertise. But this is not about that today. So basically today we're just going to be discussing more on how that situation works for a lot of medical practices. So without any further waste of time, I would like to start by firstly sharing the kind of work obviously that we'll be going to be discussing today, and it's significant to the medical sector as a whole, as far as health, I think as far as health is also concerned. So we're just going to be going through a couple of information on my side that I'll be sharing. So I'm going to be sharing the screen. Today I'm going to be your host together with my colleague Portia Matechi. So we're going to be predominantly discussing two topics. So Portia will cover the second topic. So me, I'm going to be covering the first topic, which has to do with business and information systems. In terms of how can that actually help you into running a successful medical practice. Obviously, we're not going to go into detail and into more context today, but it's more of like an introductory webinar or introductory, session that we predominantly going to have. So, like I said, my name is Tugo Junior Machinini. I'm actually a managing director here at Zwipepis. Yeah, we specialize in professional services for a lot of small businesses and starting up businesses. If you have a business that is currently probably starting out, we're one of the people that you can work with. If you have a medical practice that is of small scale, we are your people because that's where we specialize on in terms of like your bookkeeping, cloud accounting, taxation. In terms of your tax filing, we are your guys. Currently, that's the period that we are finding ourselves in. At this point in time of the year, where a lot of people are actually busy with their tax filings as far as SARS is concerned. So yeah, and a host of other services like your payroll services, as well as your advisory services. So that's what we do on our day-to-day basis. And I'm a managing director of that. And then Portia Matenchi, my colleague, who's also going to be presenting. I think she'll also do an introduction on the side, but I'll just continue because I've already mentioned her. So she's our business development executive. So yeah, so basically, this is how we're gonna have to look at it. You know what I mean? In terms of how do you go about, building a very successful medical practice? Number one, you need to have a clear vision and a strategic plan in place. I know a lot of people probably misuse, this word a lot lately or recently, but you can't get away from, this thing. If you don't have a clear vision or a structure in place, then you are bound to face a lot of challenges and you don't know how to overcome them because there's no clear vision or plan in place that's supposed to help you into navigating whatever challenges your business comes across. So, number one, how does this help you in terms of crafting a clear vision and a strategic plan for your business or for your medical practice? Is that it defines your target audience and speciality. So you actually know the people that you actually need to work with and how do you approach those people, how do you deal with them. So by that, it helps you to really define how do you communicate with your target market, outline your mission, values, and goals. So this is very important. I think it falls more into the strategic planning side of the business, of the medical practice, when you're looking at defining or outlining rather mission, your values, and your goals. So this is where it becomes very important for your business to actually get this thing into place. Number three, or thirdly rather, you need to also consider things like develop a competitive analysis and a market research as far as your business is concerned, like looking at your medical practice with a lot of things that it concerns, things such as how do you actually grow your client base? People that are subscribing probably to you as their preferred, medical doctor or whichever, space you are in, whether you are a dentist or whether you are an optometrist whichever, speciality you fall under the medical space, how do you actually get those people to actually subscribe? You know what I mean? So having a clear vision, like I've said, and a strategic plan serves as your compass. It defines your why and how, ensuring that everyone in the practice, most importantly, your people that you're working with on the ground, they actually understand what it means and what are they supposed to align themselves. From the receptionists at your practice, they understand what it means for them to do what they do and what sort of like goals are they aligning themselves towards. So understanding your target markets, again, it's very important because it helps you and it empowers you to tailor your services and your marketing effort, effectively. So because you actually know what to say and how to say, you know what I mean? So and also conducting a market analysis ensures that, like I've said before, you are aware of your competition and and potential opportunities. And then again, like I've said, create a financial plan and budget. So that helps you because it falls under the strategic planning on terms of in this current financial year or in the next financial year, this is how we want to do business, or this is these are targets that we have in place that are supposed to really assist us in getting forward. And also, lastly, establish, SMART. SMART is specific, measurable, relevant, and time bound, so that it keeps your goals, focused and driven. Okay, this is how we're going to move, and this is where we need to pivot. Also, when we experience, a couple of challenges along the way, because it's never a smooth ride, 100%. So, on to my third point. My third point actually speaks more, on how to optimize, operations for efficiency. Like I've said, starting from the person who's a receptionist at your practice, should you have a receptionist, in terms of how those people are supposed, to optimize things like booking, or scheduling or appointment management. It starts from there because should you have a very poor, maybe let's say appointment management system or appointment management way of work, then it definitely, boils down to how you really service you as as a medical professional, itself. Like I said, whether you're a medical doctor, a GP in a sense, or you are, a dentist, optometrist, gynecologist, so and so and so, cardiologist, and so forth, depending on your speciality, as I've said. So what this thing is that it's very paramount. Operational efficiency is very paramount in delivering timely care and managing cost effectively. You know what I mean? To make sure that your business is running efficiently, scheduling systems should minimize waiting times. As I've said, optimize provider utilization, which is very important, so that the patients that you're servicing feel very comfortable in working with your practice. As I've said, other things that we also need to look at is investing in electronic, health records technology. So those things, what they do is that they eliminate a lot of paperwork and burdens as well, and enhance information access. So even if maybe let's say you are trying to, keep, the confidentiality rule between you and your patient, you can still achieve that, you know what I mean, through having such things in place so that, maybe they've lost, maybe let's say a hard copy that you have once, shared with them when they were there in terms of their health record. You've got a technology that assists you to keep those records in place, to enhance information access as I've shared. And then lastly, but not important, like I've said, streamline billing. So you've gotta work with, things like, your billing platforms that are out there to help you, like Sage and other ones that are helping you to run the accounting of your business. Because that is a very significant part in terms of how cash flow moves within your business, so that when it comes to the accounting side, or it comes to the taxation side of your business, you have everything in order, you have everything rather in place to actually try and assist you, with ensuring that, you are very, aware, and you are kept transparent with how the finances of your business are being ran. And then lastly, but not least, it's regularly assessing, and improving operational workflow, like I've said. So that ensures a smooth operations and a positive, patient feedback or experience. Because once you regular assess where you need to improve, it's you making sure that you keep it and you really keeping whoever that you are dealing with as far as your patient is concerned, quite happy. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's another important thing. And then yeah, moving right along to our next slide, which has to do a lot, with how we move, with certain things. Well, there's something that obviously before we can even start speaking about prioritizing, I think it sort of like skipped my mind. But now it comes because of what we're discussing about the efficiency, leveraging technology as well for smarter practice, So this speaks about utilizing telemedicine options for virtual consultations. So if you're a GP or whoever, I think that happened a lot during COVID, where a lot of people were avoided or were sort of like prohibited from doing a lot of movements due to the time we had found ourselves in at that point in time. So what happens is that now there are things like that. You don't need to see every patient. So someone probably has a lot of engagements and work, and traveling probably to your practice could be, of some sort of like disadvantage to them, because maybe probably they can only do that during lunchtime. And you could find that during lunchtime, they are sort of like, disorientated from whatever that they need to do. So utilizing things like your telemedicine options for virtual, consultation, speaking to your patient via Zoom, via Meet, or via Microsoft, Teams, and all of that definitely helps you to enhance your offering and how you actually move, as far as your business offering is concerned. And integrate, patient portals for online communication and appointment booking. So that's another thing. So when you are doing, for example, these online virtual calls with your patients, they are able to schedule through whether they want to do an in-person consultation, or rather they want to do a virtual one. And it depends also on the case of the patient that you are dealing with. Maybe the case requires an assessment that needs to be done, or maybe it's just a conversation that you need to exchange with regards to whatever inquiry that a particular patient has as far as the business is concerned. So those are the things that we need to do. And for example, you know what I mean, track as far as patients are concerned. And another thing is implement data analytics to actually track the performance and identify improvement areas. So what do I mean? Performance of the practice. Data analytics helps you a lot there. Identify improvement areas also on where you need to improve. Right. So that's another thing that you can probably look into implementing as far as the business is concerned. Embrace cloud solutions for secure data storage and accessibility. So that this helps you also with you and how you relate to your patients, because right now we live in a digital space, we live in a digital world. So actually embracing that as a medical practice puts you at an advantageous point, because a lot of them are pretty much old school in terms of how they run their practices and in terms of how they've slowly, integrated themselves within the digital space. So that's a very important thing that we need to also, be aware of, and also staying informed. It's very important. Stay informed about emerging technology in the health care, delivery. I think a country that is doing fantastic in this is Canada, in terms of like the healthcare space, in terms of how medical practices are actually embracing technology as far as emerging technologies are concerned around that part of the world. So I think probably we can actually look into details. Probably if you guys agree, on our next session, on our next webinar, where we can actually go into details with regards to technologies that sort of like medical practices around the world have embraced to ensure that they enhance their medical practices offering. So yeah, with that being said, now I'm gonna go on to to this slide, which has to do with prioritize patient-centric care, which is very important, because without the patients, there's no need for a medical practice. The reason why there's a medical practice, same as the reason why there's a business, is because there's a client or a customer. So yeah, basically this is how it looks to work. So what we need to understand is that, number one, we need to foster open communication and build trust with patients, like I've said. So that has to do with a lot of human touch. So now this is away from technology and stuff. This is where you start building the groundwork, because you cannot just start consulting someone virtually, especially someone that is interacting with you for the first time. It's quite a dangerous thing, especially in the healthcare space, to actually do that. So it's not really, this is not professional advice, but it's just a personal, opinion on my side. And then deliver personalized, compassionate, and compassionate care. It's very important. And implement patient engagement initiative and educational resources for themselves. To say if someone is struggling with their diet, listen, this is what you need to do, in order for you to actually reach the goals that you have as far as your diet is concerned. So this is very important. Like I said, patients are the heart of your practice. Without your practice, like I've said, without clients or customers in business, there's no business. Same as patients with practices. Without patients, the practice is not needed. You know what I mean? So they are the heart of your practice. So building trust, and open communication is crucial for positive, patient experiences and better health outcomes. Respecting individual needs and preferences empowers patients, and fosters ownership of their own health journey as far as their aspirations are concerned. Actively listening to feedback and addressing concerns demonstrates your commitment to their well-being. How you really address certain things that they are going through as far as their health journey is concerned is really crucial. So that's where you need to prioritize, like I said, patient-centric care as far as that is concerned. And then last but not least, then the most important thing is that you need to embrace, continuous improvement as far as the practice is concerned. So this has to do with, regularly evaluate your practices performance against your goals. I think that was the first slide or second slide that we actually went through, which is very important, which has to do with your strategic goals and your vision as a business. So you need to really evaluate on how you do it. Maybe you can do it monthly, quarterly, whichever period that works for your business, or semi annually and stuff like that. So it depends on how you do it, because success is a journey, not a destination, right? It's never a destination, because when you get to a certain point, there's something else that keeps on knocking at your door. So continuously evaluating your practice allows you to identify areas that you need to improve and adapt to changing needs as far as your patients are concerned. Like I've said, adapting to technology is one of them. So how are you embracing that change as far as your practice is concerned? Patient feedback is very invaluable for their understanding and enhancing the care that you provide to them. You might be doing the right thing, but you find that you are doing it in the wrong way, in a way that does not really relate to them 100%, or as far as how they would like you to do it. So that's important. And how you do that is through conducting surveys and get a feedback so that you continue to serve them the right way. Identify areas of improvement and implement action. Actually, this goes hand in hand with the first point. So yeah, firstly, it's very important that you also encourage ongoing learning and development for the staff that you're working with, whether you have an assistant dentist or whoever that you're working with in your practice, your receptionist, whoever you have, you know what I mean? You make sure that you encourage them, as far as their craft is concerned, or as far as their career is concerned. And then staying up to date in involving regulations within the practicing space you're finding yourself in, and keeping up with certain significant bodies as far as they're concerned. So yeah. So yeah, thank you so much um, for taking time to attend. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate everything that you've decided to leave and attend the session. So right now I'm gonna stop, and then yeah, I'm gonna allow my colleague Portia to actually proceed with her presentation as far as her side of presentation is concerned. So over to you, Portia. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Ntutuko, for allowing me to carry on with the presentation. So I'm gonna share my screen shortly. Okay. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you, everyone. Okay, okay. So I'll be covering the business maintenance and growth part of the webinar. Just before I start, hello everyone. My name is Portia Madenchi. I am a business development consultant here at ZBBees. And as my colleague has introduced me, yes, we work together. And yeah, that's basically all about me. I'm the business development consultant here at ZBBees. So I will start with the business maintenance part. Basically, I'm going to cover only 5 points on this part. There are so many tips and advice that we can give to you all to give you guys in terms of how to build your medical practice and how to successfully operate it. But there's only key ones that we want to emphasize in our webinar, which is what I will some of them my colleague has already covered them, and I will just only be adding to what he has already said. In terms of how to operate your business success, your practice basically, because obviously before we can start, your medical practice is essentially your business. So in terms of
Hi, Portia, is still there? Hello?
on how to operate and run your medical or dental practice successfully. So we're going to look at the friendliness and the attitude that, or rather the energy that your practice is transmitting to the clients. So on the first point, we're going to focus on the friendliness and kindness towards your patients. And this is very crucial. So this is in terms of, this contributes to the number of sales. So because in the business, basically your clients are your sales. So how you treat your clients is very important, because it definitely determines how your business is going to run in the long term. So being kind to your clients or being kind to your patients in general is very crucial, and it contributes to the success of your business in the long term. Number two, we're going to look at the aesthetics and the cleanness of the importance of the cleanness and aesthetics of a practice. So it's important that you keep your practice clean and aesthetically pleasing, because I'm basically touching on the customer experience. So I mean patient experience. So patients really value the practices that go all out to give them the best patient experience ever. And this, it comes from the attention or the energy that they get from the first person that they encounter when they get to the practice, this being the receptionist and until to the medical doctor. So keeping your practice aesthetically pleasing and clean is very valuable, and it's important to the long-term process of your business in general. And number three, as a medical or dental practitioner, it's very important that you dedicate time to learn about your practice in general. So this means that it is important that you have meetings with your employees, and this can be also your project the practice manager, to keep you up to date about how your practice is going in general. Because what you do as a medical or dental practitioner almost every day or every minute that you spend in your practice is that you focus more on the patients, and the reality is that you hardly have much information about everything else that is happening in the practice. So you need to dedicate time to learn more about other aspects of your practice. So this is what are the people saying about our practice, or anything that the patients are complaining about, and anything that needs to be improved in the practice. So when, as a medical or dental practitioner, you are aware of your practice in general, everything that is happening, this enables you to be able to grow your practice in the future, because you are fully aware of how your business is doing, and you will be able to know which are the loopholes that needs to be paid, that needs attention, and what are the things that you personally, as a medical dental practitioner, you need to work on in your practice. And the second last, we're going to look at the good management of finances. So my colleague has already mentioned and touched on the financial part of the business. So each and every business practices as well. You work with money all the time. When patients come, they pay for the service that you have offered. So it is quite important that as a practitioner, you have like a system that is able to help you make sure that you manage your finances appropriately in order to run your business successfully at the moment and also in the future. Because what we know about businesses, that especially at the starting point, a practice doesn't make as much money as it wishes to, because there's so many things that are required. For example, the equipment and so on and so forth. So making sure that you avoid unnecessary expenditures, and also making sure that you keep record of where the money is being dedicated to in terms of running your practice is very important. And lastly, you have to make sure that you are consistent in terms of complying with the relevant authorities. This is SARS and CIPC and other medical or dental authorities that you guys are registered with, or that you need to continuously comply with. So in terms of the SARS, we are helping you guys in terms of that one, as well as CIPC. I'm gonna move on to business. Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna move on to business growth. In terms of growing how to grow your dental or medical practice, we're going to look at about 8 points. So the first one is digital marketing. It's important that as a medical practitioner or dental practitioner, you make the most of technology, as my colleague has mentioned. Digital marketing, you choose the platforms that you believe that will be able to help you grow your business successfully in the long term. This could be Facebook, Instagram, as well as the most important SEO that we know, search engine, which is Google, where you develop a website and people are easily able to get hold of you as a medical practitioner. The secondly, we're going to look at patient experience. Patient experience, I've touched it in the previous slide. Patient experience is very important. So how you treat your patients from the minute they land in your practice is very important. So it is also important that every team member in the practice gives the patient the best experience ever. And one thing about great patient experience, that it increases the sales of the business. When a customer or a patient has got a great experience from a practice, the chances are that you will get more you'll definitely get more patients, because they are going to leave a review for your practice. And also, even if they didn't leave a review, but when they talk about your practice with other people, they will say good things, and definitely those people will also come to your practice. So that's increasing the sales of your business or your practice. Number 3, we're going to look at patient reviews. Reviews, as this is the part that my colleague has touched. Reviews are very important. And this refers to both the good and the bad reviews. Bad reviews means you have to work on something that the patients are complaining about. Good reviews means it's a direction it's a direction showing you the things that you are currently doing right, and which you need to consistently keep on doing in your practice. And lastly, number 4, following up with patients that most importantly, the patients that have like critical conditions that may need you to follow up with them. Yes, it's a good thing that you may have give a service to a patient, and then in most cases, as a doctor, you might just want to give a patient the service and move on to the next patient. But it's important that you constantly follow up with those that might need you to constantly follow up with them, especially those who may have critical conditions. Okay. And then the fifth one, I made a mistake with the numbering. So this is number 5. Frequently engage your colleagues. So it is important that when you run a practice, you constantly engage with your colleagues in order to make sure that they understand the culture of the business and the aims of the vision of your practice. Because one thing that is important, as I've mentioned, customer experience. When the employees are no longer aware of what the vision of the practice is, it's easy for the employees to just continue do things the way they prefer to do them. But if you constantly engage them and remind them of what the vision of the practice is, it becomes easier for everyone to be in alignment and treat the customers the way they have to be treated in order to reach the goals of their practice. Number 6, we're going to look at confirming appointments. So it's important that as the practice confirms the appointments with clients or the patients. This is important in terms of avoiding long queues and also improving the customer experience. One thing I've realized when I was doing research about medical practitioners is that what patients don't like is to stand up in long queues whereas they have made up an appointment. So it's important that when you keep up with confirming appointments with clients or the patients, you are able to keep track of how the company is doing on a daily basis, and also ensuring that when a patient is no longer able to come to the practice, then you get a new client or a customer to fill in that space of the person that was supposed to come and who couldn't make it. Okay, then we're gonna go to the second last one, which is as you grow your business, it's important that you expand your services. This will definitely help you in terms of improving the sales of the business in the long run as well. And lastly, we're going to look at creativity and uniqueness. As a practice, it is important that you ensure that your practice is unique in terms of its culture and the services that they offer to the clients and everything else. So there are so many practices out there, but once your practice stands out, it helps you to become successful in the long run. Okay. So that's it from my side, and thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Tutuko.
Thank you so much, Portia, for a lovely presentation that you just shared. We really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, it was an amazing and a very insightful. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, I think thank you so much for everyone that made time, availed themselves. We know that it was a very short notice, situation, but yeah, we really appreciate you guys taking time and really coming and attending this session. We really hope that you guys are gonna find or really found this insightful. So yeah, we're just gonna share our recording on our YouTube channel. Yeah, you're gonna find it there. So we're just gonna upload it there. Yeah, sometime this week. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone who attended, and yeah, all the best, and then have a lovely week ahead. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.